Welcome everyone to this explainer on the Johari Window. Today, we're going to take this classic psychological concept and completely reframe it as a deeply practical, everyday tool to elevate your self-awareness and transform your team dynamics. Honestly, if you've ever felt a little disconnect between how you intend to lead and how your team actually responds to you, well, you are definitely in the right place. Let's get into it. So, here's our roadmap for today's session. We'll start with the leadership blind spot, meet the Johari Window, talk about why this matters, look at expanding your open area, and wrap up with how to take action today.
All right, starting right off with Section 1, the leadership blind spot and what we don't see.
I really want you to genuinely consider this question for a second. Do you truly know how your team perceives your actions? You know, as leaders, we almost always operate with perfectly positive intentions. We want to guide, we want to inspire, we want to hit our targets. But actually, scratch that. Intention doesn't always equal impact. There's so often this invisible gap between what we think we're projecting out there and what our team is actually experiencing on the ground. The reality is, we just don't always see ourselves the way other people see us. One of our sources uses this brilliant, kind of funny metaphor for this. Blind spots are basically like having cream cheese on your face. Everyone else in the room can see it plain as day, but you're just sitting there blissfully oblivious. But here's how we need to look at this for leadership. These blind spots, they aren't just embarrassing flaws, not at all. They are completely untapped potential. Uncovering them turns them into hidden gems, powerful leadership assets you can literally start using to your advantage. Moving right along to Section 2, meet the Johari Window, our lens for clarity. Enter the Johari Window. This is a foundational self-awareness framework. It was created way back in 1955 by two American psychologists, Joseph Luft and Harry Ingham, while they were doing research on team dynamics at UCLA. And yes, if you're wondering, they literally just combined their first names, Joe and Harry, to get Johari. I love that. But even with that mid-century foundation, its relevance for today's executives is absolutely stronger than ever. It's really the ultimate lens for finding interpersonal clarity. Notice just how elegantly this matrix maps out human interaction. It's a simple grid with 4 quadrants, all based on what is known to you versus what is known to others. First up, the open area. That's stuff known to you and known to your team. Second, the hidden area. That's known to you, but you keep it a secret from your team. Third is the blind area. These are things your team clearly sees in you, but you don't realize about yourself. Our cream cheese. And fourth, the unknown area. That's just untapped potential hidden from absolutely everyone. The crucial takeaway here, these are not static boxes. They're dynamic zones of your leadership potential, and they shift and change every single time you interact with your team. This really illustrates those dynamic mechanics perfectly. Think of that top left quadrant, your open area, like a window pane. As a leader, your main objective is to actively push that window pane wider. So how do we do that? Well, you use 2 key levers. You pull the vertical lever down by self-disclosing, basically telling others about yourself. And then you pull the horizontal lever over to the right by soliciting feedback, asking others what they see. When you do both of these things, you actively shrink your hidden and blind areas. Which naturally brings us to Section 3, why this matters, the true ROI of self-awareness. Make no mistake, the return on investment for putting in this work is massive. Shrinking those blind and hidden areas directly correlates with building a really safe, trusting atmosphere. It seriously enhances your critical decision-making simply because you're no longer operating in the dark when it comes to your own biases. It fosters high-performing team environments where people feel psychologically safe to speak up. It uncovers strengths you didn't even know you had. And ultimately, it cultivates highly authentic self-leadership. Because let's be real, you can't effectively lead others until you effectively know and lead yourself. So the key contrast to keep in mind is this. Leaders with a large open area are universally perceived as accessible, communicative, and trustworthy. Their teams just run smoother. Conversely, a small open area, that creates major friction. If you're hiding too much or if you flat out refuse to hear feedback, you just seem closed off. It breeds suspicion, it makes it incredibly difficult to maintain team cohesion, all because your people feel like they just don't know the real you. Let's explore exactly how to fix that in Section 4, expanding your open area with the twin engines. Think of these as the twin engines of your leadership development. On one side, we have self-disclosure, telling. This is exactly how you shrink your hidden area. You open up about your thought process, your professional goals, your core values. And on the other side, we have soliciting feedback, asking. This is how you shrink your blind area.
You are actively going out and requesting constructive, honest observations from your colleagues. But, okay, let me throw in a quick executive-level caveat here. You absolutely must avoid oversharing. The goal of the Johari Window is definitely not to bare your deepest, darkest personal secrets in the middle of a board meeting. Self-disclosure has to be sensible, it has to be professional, and it needs to match the maturity level of your team. You disclose just enough to build real, authentic trust while fiercely protecting professional respect. Start small, test the waters, and scale it to your environment.
Finally, we've arrived at Section 5. Take action today and put this all into practice. Here is a classic, incredibly powerful exercise you can run with your team today. Step 1. Look at a big list of positive professional traits and pick 5 adjectives that you feel describe your own leadership style. Step 2. Hand that exact same list to your team and ask them to anonymously pick 5 adjectives for you. Step 3. You plot them out. The ones that match, those go straight into your open area. The ones only you picked, that's your hidden area. And the ones only your team picked, boom, those are your blind spots. Finally, step 4, sit down and discuss these results openly. It creates this absolutely brilliant visual map of where your leadership currently stands. Now, step 4 of that exercise, discussing those results, is what we call an important conversation, and you definitely shouldn't walk into it blindly. When you're prepping for this chat, you really need to calibrate your intended outcome. You have to consider the WIFM, what's in it for me, but equally, if not more importantly, the WIFT, what's in it for them. By framing this feedback conversation around mutual benefit, you drastically lower everyone's defensive barriers. To quote the legendary Stephen Covey, begin with the end in mind. Look, the end goal of this entire Johari exercise isn't just to complete a cool psychological matrix or to point out a bunch of flaws. The end goal here is stronger trust. It's better communication. It's building a deeper, far more resilient connection with the people you are leading. You have to keep that ultimate purpose front and center with every single disclosure you make and every piece of feedback you request. So I want to leave you with the direct challenge right now. Understanding this model? That's only half the battle. Actually, putting it into practice is what separates a good manager from a truly great leader. So I want you to think about your current team, your projects, and your own window pane. Who are you going to ask for feedback today to shrink your leadership blind spot? Take that step. Push that window open just a little bit wider and become an even better leader today. Thanks so much for joining me.